There is a force so subtle, so underestimated, and yet so commanding that when mastered, it makes the very currents of life flow in your favor. This force is silence. While the world is busy with noise, chatter, and ceaseless distraction, those who understand the true art of silence stand above the rest. For in silence lies the root of all strength, the seed of wisdom, and the gatekeeper of success. Think of silence not as the absence of sound, but as the presence of power. The loudest voices rarely move mountains, but the quiet determination of a disciplined mind shifts worlds. The seed does not shout while growing beneath the earth. It develops silently until one day it breaks forth and astonishes all who behold its fruit. In the same manner, your ambitions, your plans, and your visions require silence to grow. Why is silence so powerful? Because silence protects. When you withhold your words, you prevent enemies, skeptics, and doubters from using them against you. Many dreams have been destroyed not by lack of potential, but by careless words spoken too soon. When you speak before the right time, you scatter the energy of your intention. But when you stay silent, you concentrate it, building momentum until your results speak louder than any voice ever could. Silence is not weakness, it is strategy. It is not retreat, it is advancement in disguise. Those who rush to speak often reveal their ignorance, but those who guard their words command respect without demanding it. When others lean on noise to prove their worth, you, in silence, harness the invisible currents that bend circumstances to your will. There is another dimension to silence. It invites clarity. In silence, you become receptive to higher ideas. You align your thoughts with the universal intelligence that whispers solutions only to those who are still enough to hear. Many of history's greatest breakthroughs were not born in the marketplace or in the crowd, but in solitude, in quiet rooms where thinkers allowed silence to reveal hidden truths. Silence also refines relationships. When you speak less, you listen more. And when you listen more, you understand what others truly need, what they fear, what they desire. This knowledge gives you the ability to influence without resistance, to guide without force. Your silence becomes the mirror in which others reveal themselves. And above all, silence builds inner mastery. The individual who cannot control their tongue cannot control their destiny. But the one who tames speech has already conquered themselves. This self-mastery radiates outward, drawing to you people, resources, and circumstances that align with your purpose. Life begins to flow in your favor not because of luck, but because silence made you magnetic. So I ask you, how much power have you lost by speaking too soon? How many opportunities slipped because your words betrayed your vision before it had time to mature? Resolve from this day to embrace the discipline of silence. Guard your plans until they are strong enough to stand on their own. Speak with purpose, not with impulse. And remember, silence is not empty. It is full of answers, full of power, full of destiny waiting to be revealed. When you master silence, you master yourself. And when you master yourself, the world cannot help but yield to your will. Silence is the reservoir of power. It is the invisible well from which strength, clarity, and mastery are drawn. Those who understand this truth no longer rush to fill the air with words, for they know that every spoken word carries weight and every unspoken word preserves energy. The world will tell you that noise commands attention, that volume equals authority, but the wise know better. The wise understand that true power is not revealed in endless chatter, but in the control of one's own tongue. When you hold silence, you hold the reins of your destiny. Silence is not weakness, it is a higher form of command. To remain silent when provoked, to remain calm when others are reckless, is to demonstrate mastery that no one can imitate. Silence does not announce itself. It influences without force, it protects without armor, and it leads without raising its voice. Think for a moment of the seed buried beneath the soil. It does not demand recognition. It does not shout its intention. It grows in silence, nourished by unseen forces, until it bursts forth in undeniable strength. Your ideas, your plans, your visions must be treated the same way. If you scatter them carelessly in the winds of idle conversation, they weaken. But if you hold them in silence, they gain momentum. They take root. They gather force until the day they can stand strong enough to speak for themselves. Many men and women have lost opportunities, not because they lack talent, but because they spoke too soon. They revealed too much. They wasted energy in explaining dreams instead of executing them. Understand this. Every time you speak unnecessarily, you dissipate the magnetic force of your purpose. But every time you remain silent with discipline, you concentrate that force. And concentrated force bends circumstances to your favor. Silence also guards you against enemies. The moment you speak, your words become tools in another's hands, tools that can be twisted, doubted, or used against you. But when you withhold, you hold control. Your silence makes others uncertain. It forces them to guess, to wonder, to respect what they cannot read. Never underestimate the influence that comes from being a mystery. Those who talk much are predictable, but those who know how to keep still are impossible to outmaneuver. Yet silence is not only a shield, it is a gateway. In silence, you hear what the noise of the world conceals. In silence, you receive impressions, ideas, flashes of inspiration that would otherwise pass you by. The great truths, the great inventions, the great breakthroughs are never born in the roar of the crowd, but in the stillness of solitude. In silence, the mind connects to forces greater than itself. In silence, the unseen allies of success gather to whisper guidance. Silence refines character. It teaches patience. It reveals the weaknesses of others while concealing your own. And above all, it gives you control over yourself. The one who cannot control his tongue cannot control his life. But the one who has mastered the discipline of silence has already conquered the first and greatest battlefield, the self. That conquest alone is enough to command respect, attract resources, and draw opportunities as naturally as a magnet draws iron. So I urge you, stop giving your power away with needless words. Let your results speak, not your explanations. Let your discipline show, not your noise. Guard your dreams as the seed guards its potential in the earth. Let silence work for you as an ally, a shield, and a secret weapon. Remember always, silence is the reservoir of power. And when you learn to drink from that reservoir, life itself will flow in your favor. The strongest forces work invisibly. You cannot see the wind, yet it bends trees and carries storms across continents. You cannot see electricity, yet it lights cities, drives machines, and connects nations. You cannot see faith, thought, or desire, yet they shape the destiny of men and women more powerfully than any visible chain. The greatest forces of life do not announce themselves with noise or spectacle. They move silently, persistently, and with unshakable certainty. In the same way, the power that governs your success is invisible. It begins within your mind, in your silent thoughts, in the desires you nourish and the discipline you maintain when no one is watching. Those who rely only on what they can see, touch, and measure are blind to the true currents that shape their lives. But those who understand that the unseen controls the seen begin to harness the forces that others ignore. Every achievement begins in silence. The great building first existed as an invisible image in someone's imagination. The wealth that changes generations began as an idea, nurtured quietly before it was ever spoken aloud. The great leaders of history carried visions within them long before the world recognized their presence. The strongest forces do not start with a shout. They grow invisibly until their results cannot be denied. This truth should remind you to guard your invisible resources. Your thoughts are forces. Every time you focus them with clarity and conviction, you are aligning with the same invisible law that makes the wind blow and the stars remain in their course. But every time you scatter them through fear, doubt, or idle conversation, you weaken them. The world rewards those who know how to hold their power within, letting it grow silently until the time is right to act. Understand that silence itself is a partner of these invisible forces. To be silent is not to be weak. It is to trust the process of unseen growth. The farmer does not dig up the seed every day to prove it is growing. He trusts the invisible law of nature. In the same way, you must trust the invisible law of success. Protect your plans. Guard your desires. Hold them until they are ready to manifest. What you reveal too soon, you endanger. What you guard in silence, you empower. There is also invisible protection in silence. Words once spoken cannot be recalled. Many people have destroyed their opportunities not because they lacked talent, but because they spoke unwisely. They revealed what should have been hidden. They gave away their advantage by exposing what was meant to remain unseen. The one who knows how to remain silent when others demand noise carries an invisible shield that no enemy can penetrate. Even relationships are influenced by invisible forces. People respond not just to your words, but to your energy, your confidence, your unspoken certainty. This cannot be faked and it cannot be purchased. It is cultivated in silence, in discipline, in the invisible habits that shape who you are when no one is watching. So do not be deceived by appearances. The strongest forces work invisibly. A calm mind is more powerful than a loud voice. A quiet plan is stronger than a noisy boast. A vision held in silence gathers allies and resources that chatter would only chase away. Life itself is moved more by the unseen than the seen. From this day forward, remember that your greatest power is not in what you show, but in what you grow. Guard your invisible forces. Nurture them in silence. Trust that when the time comes, the results will speak louder than any words could ever shout. For the strongest forces work invisibly, and when you learn to align with them, everything begins to flow in your favor. Your words shape alliances, but your silence guards them. Every word you release carries weight, influence, and consequence. Words can open doors, create trust, and inspire loyalty, but they can also expose weakness, invite envy, and arm your enemies with weapons to use against you. When you speak, you reveal. When you remain silent, you preserve. Power is not merely in the ability to say the right thing, but in the discipline to withhold when saying nothing secures your advantage. Think of the greatest leaders, inventors, and builders of empires. They understood that words can win support, but silence maintains control. A premature revelation has toppled kingdoms, ruined negotiations, and shattered friendships. Too often, people sabotage their own success not by lack of ability, but by lack of discretion. They speak of their dreams before they are rooted. They disclose their strategies before they are strong, and in doing so, they weaken the very alliances their words once forged. There is a time to speak and a time to be still. Speech is for creation, silence is for protection. When you speak, you give form to your vision. But when you remain silent, you shield it from doubt, from jealousy, and from sabotage. Understand this, not everyone who hears your words wishes you well. Some will smile while secretly plotting against you. Others will disguise envy as advice. Only in silence do you keep your power beyond their reach. Your silence creates an aura of strength. People are unsettled by what they cannot read, and they respect what they cannot fully understand. If you reveal too much, you make yourself predictable, but in silence you command intrigue. You force others to wonder what you know, what you plan, what you hold back. This uncertainty becomes a weapon in your favor. It is better to be underestimated in silence and strike with results than to be overestimated by words and fail to deliver. Consider also the effect silence has on your own growth. Words, once spoken, can scatter your energy. Every explanation you give, every boast you make releases the pressure that should have been building within you. But when you keep silent, that energy is conserved like water held in a dam, ready to be released in powerful results. Many lose momentum because they talk more about their dreams than they work toward them. Silence disciplines you to act, not just to announce. Even in alliances, silence is vital. Words may form agreements, but silence preserves trust. The friend who can keep silent about what should not be shared is more valuable than one who constantly talks. The business partner who reveals every secret to others endangers the alliance. Guarding silence is guarding loyalty. The less you reveal, the stronger the bond remains, for trust is built as much on what is unsaid as on what is declared. In every negotiation, in every friendship, in every plan of destiny, silence serves as a fortress. No one can attack what they do not know. No one can destroy what they cannot see. You become unshakable not by how loudly you speak, but by how wisely you remain quiet. Your silence does not make you small, it makes you untouchable. So measure your words carefully. Speak only when your speech strengthens your vision. Use your words to inspire, to build, to create alliances. But once those alliances are formed, guard them with silence. Let your actions, your achievements, and your results be the loudest testimony of your power. Remember always that your words shape alliances, but your silence guards them. Master both, and nothing can prevent the flow of destiny in your favor. Opportunities come to those who listen deeply. Life whispers its greatest secrets not to the loud, not to the distracted, but to the one who is trained, the ear of the mind, to hear what others miss. The noise of the world drowns out the quiet signals that lead to success. But the person who listens deeply to people, to circumstances, to intuition, and to the still voice within finds doors where others see only walls. Most people hear only the surface. They listen to respond, not to understand. They interrupt instead of absorbing. They crave to speak rather than to receive. And because they live in noise, they miss the golden threads of opportunity that pass quietly through every conversation, every chance meeting, every subtle moment. The universe does not always announce its gifts with trumpets. Sometimes the chance of a lifetime comes disguised in a single sentence, a passing idea, a gentle nudge. Only the deep listener is prepared to catch it. To listen deeply is to honor the wisdom hidden in silence. When you listen, you gather information others ignore. You notice patterns, details, and truths that remain invisible to the inattentive. You hear the need behind someone's words, the fear behind their confidence, the desire behind their silence. And in recognizing these hidden signals, you place yourself in a position of power. For influence is not gained by talking the most, but by understanding the most. Listening deeply also unlocks creativity. Ideas do not shout, they whisper. The imagination speaks softly, and the guidance of higher intelligence arrives in flashes that are easy to dismiss if you are not paying attention. How many solutions have passed you by because you were too busy speaking, too restless to be still? The great inventors, the great builders, the great thinkers, they did not become great because they shouted louder than others. They became great because they listened to the whispers of ideas and had the courage to act upon them. Opportunities are born in conversation. Every person you meet knows something you do not. Every dialogue contains the seed of advantage. Yet many talk their way past their own blessing. They dominate the conversation, eager to prove their knowledge, while the real treasure lies in what the other person could have revealed had they been given space to speak. Deep listeners build alliances others cannot, because people trust those who truly hear them. In listening, you gain not only information but influence, and with influence comes opportunity. Listening deeply also sharpens intuition. There is a voice within you that knows more than logic can explain. It warns, it guides, it suggests, but it does not shout. It whispers in hunches, in feelings, in sudden clarity. Those who ignore it miss the invisible hand that directs them toward destiny. Those who cultivate silence and practice listening recognize this inner voice as the compass of opportunity. Remember this, the world rewards the attentive. Success comes not to the one who always speaks, but to the one who knows when to be still. Train yourself to listen with your ears, your eyes, and your spirit. Listen to the emotions between words, to the patterns within events, to the guidance within your own heart. For every moment carries with it a message, and within every message lies a potential door. Opportunities come to those who listen deeply, speak less, observe more. Hear what others miss. Catch the signals life sends in silence. For in the discipline of listening, you gain the map others are too distracted to see, and with that map you will find doors opening where others see only walls, and life itself will begin to flow in your favor. Silence protects you from enemies. The moment you speak, you reveal a piece of yourself, your thoughts, your plans, your strengths, and your weaknesses. Words are like open doors, and once they leave your lips, you can never fully close them again. Many people have been defeated not because their enemies were stronger, but because they armed their enemies with information through careless speech. Silence, on the other hand, builds a fortress around your intentions. It hides your strategies, conceals your desires, and keeps your adversaries guessing. A man who talks too much is easy to read, but a man of silence is impossible to predict. Think of the greatest victories in history. They were not won by revealing every move. The general does not tell his opponent where the army will march. The inventor does not announce his discovery before it is secured. The successful man or woman does not boast about their plans before they have materialized. They understand that silence is not weakness, but security. And in that security lies power. Enemies thrive on knowledge. They need to know where to strike, what to attack, and where you are vulnerable. When you speak too freely, you hand them the blueprint to your downfall. But when you keep silent, you deny them the tools they seek. Your enemies cannot fight what they cannot see, and they cannot destroy what they do not know. In silence, you become untouchable, a mystery that cannot be solved. Silence also protects you from envy. When people hear of your plans, many will pretend to support you while secretly hoping for your failure. Some will even work against you, not because you harmed them, but because your ambition reminds them of their own lack of progress. The more you reveal, the more you invite envy to rise against you. Silence keeps envy powerless, for nothing can be attacked until it is exposed. The seed grows quietly in the earth, hidden from threats, until it is strong enough to break through. So too must your dreams be guarded until they are ready to stand against resistance. Beyond protection from others, silence protects you from yourself. In speaking too quickly, you may commit to promises you cannot keep. You may reveal intentions that are not yet clear. You may weaken your own energy by scattering it in words instead of concentrating it in action. Silence disciplines you to act first and speak later. It ensures that when you finally do speak, your words are backed by results that no enemy can deny. There is wisdom in keeping your vision private until it is strong enough to withstand opposition. The loudest boast is often the weakest plan, while the quiet worker emerges victorious without announcement. Let your silence shield you until your accomplishments roar for you. There is no enemy more defeated than the one who sees your success after it is too late to stop it. Learn to be comfortable with silence. Let others underestimate you. Let them wonder what you are planning, what you are thinking, what you are becoming. Their uncertainty is your protection. Their doubt is your disguise. In the moment of silence, you hold the advantage, because no one can prepare against what they do not know. Silence protects you from enemies. It is the invisible armor that shields your vision, the guardian that defends your destiny, the discipline that ensures your power remains intact. Speak less, act more, and guard your words as you would guard your treasure. For once spoken, words can betray you, but in silence, you are always safe. From silence is born clarity. In the noise of life, where voices clash and distractions pull in every direction, the mind becomes clouded, decisions become confused, and opportunities are easily overlooked. But when you retreat into silence, when you quiet the world around you and still the turbulence within, the fog lifts. You begin to see with sharper vision, to hear with deeper understanding, and to know with greater certainty what must be done. Silence does not weaken the mind, it purifies it. It washes away the dust of confusion until only truth remains. Many people fail not because they lack strength or talent, but because they lack clarity. They rush into action without seeing the path. They waste energy on scattered pursuits, and they mistake motion for progress. Their lives are filled with noise, arguments, endless chatter, constant distractions, and in that noise they cannot hear the quiet voice of direction. Success does not come from more noise, it comes from silence. For in silence, decisions become obvious, priorities fall into place, and the next step reveals itself without strain. Consider the inventor, the thinker, the leader. Their greatest insights did not arrive in the marketplace of noise, but in the solitude of silence. A flash of inspiration, a new idea, a guiding principle. These are the gifts that silence delivers to the prepared mind. The most valuable answers in life are not shouted, they are whispered. Only those who cultivate silence are able to hear them. Silence brings clarity because it separates the essential from the trivial. When you withdraw from noise, you begin to distinguish between what truly matters and what merely distracts. You stop reacting to every demand, every voice, every fleeting impulse, and you start focusing on the few things that lead directly to your goal. Clarity is power, and silence is the doorway to that power. The one who can sit in silence can see the path that others, blinded by noise, cannot recognize. Silence also clarifies the self. In quiet moments, you come face to face with your deepest desires, your strongest fears, and your hidden potential. You realize what you truly want, not what the world tells you to want. You confront weaknesses and discover strengths you did not know you possessed. This inner clarity is more valuable than any external guidance, for when you know yourself, no obstacle can confuse you, and no enemy can mislead you. From silence is born clarity, and from clarity is born decisive action. The man or woman who acts with clarity moves with confidence. They waste no time doubting, hesitating, or second-guessing, for they have already seen the path in the stillness of silence. Their steps are precise, their energy is focused, and their results are inevitable. Confusion scatters power, but clarity concentrates it. That is why silence, though unseen, becomes the hidden foundation of visible success. Do not fear silence. Do not run from it. Embrace it as the workshop of the mind, the sanctuary of vision, the birthplace of destiny. When the world grows too loud, step back. When your thoughts grow restless, be still. Allow silence to do its work, and watch as the fog of doubt lifts, revealing a road that was invisible before. Remember always that from silence is born clarity, and clarity is the compass that points directly toward your purpose. Protect your silence, seek it often, and let it sharpen your vision until every step you take flows in harmony with your destiny.